Welcome to Inspired Women, Amazing Lives podcast, where we are hosting truly inspired women who are sharing their lives and stories so that other women may know that the journey to your amazing life is definitely within reach. I am Kimberly Wiggins, your host, and I am here every week to share resources and information that will help move you along the journey to being that inspired woman leading an amazing life. Join us now as we listen into this episode of Inspired Women, Amazing Lives. Remember to like, comment, and share, especially with another woman who has inspired you or that you would like to inspire. Let's listen in. Welcome to this episode of Inspired Women, Amazing Lives. And here at Inspired Women, we really focus on interviewing inspired women who have amazing lives so that my audience will be able to see what they've done and see the journey and see it's not as difficult as they think it is. And so today I have another very inspiring woman here today. Miss Lynette Chandler is my guest today. Hi, Lynette.
Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome. And so Lynette is a planner and journal designer who got her start in business as a WordPress developer. She finds joy in seeking, creating, and sharing tools entrepreneurs can use, be it through technology, journals, or good old-fashioned planners. I love it. Now, Lynette, you and I met really through my mentor, who's Kelly, and you work very closely with Kelly. You're in that group. That is quite the community, it's a family feel. So tell us, Lynette, how you got started on this journey as a WordPress developer and a designer for planners and journals. Tell us all about that story. We've got time.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Kimberly, for asking me that. That's a long journey. But I started looking for something to do for an income, really. This is even before 2000. So I had a very good career at that time. I was working at as a marketing executive for a paint company. And I was living in Malaysia at that time. And I got married to my husband. I moved here, and all of a sudden, I have no job, no career. I basically had to start all over, like everything. And I really wasn't looking forward to that. And this was at the turn of the millennia. Things were, we had people, already very successful online, but, it's still kind of new, still kind of like a Wild West then. So yeah. I jumped in, and a couple years later, I met Kelly, and, we've done so many different projects together since then. But that's really, a short version of how I got started. But at that time, my initial plan was to help other businesses, do their marketing online. But because I did have a background in marketing, and I quickly realized, even then, even at this infant stage, online marketing then, it's a whole new category than what I was used to. I'm used to TV, print. That's what I did. I did all that. So I learned a lot of things, and I had to learn how to code because I had a lot of time back then. That was also BC, before children. So I had a lot of time on my hands. I learned to program sites, and I the thought about outsourcing back then didn't even cross my mind, and we didn't really have that many options. You know, we didn't have WordPress. We didn't have, there's so many things that we have now we don't have then. And I found out that, hey, I really enjoy this coding. And at that time too, when I got to know Kelly and so on, I got people started asking me, you know, hey, can you build this site? Can you do this? Can you tweak the site to make, you know, I want to have this in my shopping cart or in my sales process, you know, can you add this to them? And I would go in and literally hack the system for them so that they could do what they wanted, you know, so that the sales process could flow the way they wanted. And that's how I got into that. And WordPress also starting around 2004, I got really into that because I did not want to. So let me backtrack a little bit. Back then, when you built a site, you know, now you look at a site, you've got a header and a footer, you know, all that is like standard, you know, in your themes. Back then, you literally had to do the header and the footer for every page.
Wow. Oh, wow.
It's yes, you know, it was a lot of work. And I got really tired of doing that, you know, header footer again and again. So I learned to code that way. And when I found WordPress, I was absolutely delighted. You know, I jumped in headlong, and I really did a lot in there. And this went on for a long time. I sold 40 WordPress plugins. I had a lot of customers who are very, you know, even now people still ask me for some of my plugins. I still sell some of my plugins, just very selected few. But I found out after my husband had some health issues, and we dealt with that. And through that year, after that year had kind of quieted down, I realized that I was really burnt out. And at that time, I thought, well, you know, I've been doing this for, let's see, at that time, it was maybe about 12 years, maybe. So, you know, it's been a long time. And over that 12-year period, I've had ups and downs. You know, this is not anything new. You know, I figure, okay, you know, it's just a slump. I'll get over it. You know, eventually I'll come out of this and I'll be ready to tackle this over again. But after a year, it still didn't happen. You know, I just kept plodding along. You know, and I had a membership. So I delivered a new plugin every month for my customers.
Wow.
It's a lot, and I just got to a point that, like, well, after a year, you know, I kind of feel like the I should have, you know, not be burnt out by now. And in that process, I also did a lot of writing, a lot of journaling for myself, and I learned to draw, which, you know, if you asked me maybe 10 years ago, I would say, me draw, never. I did not think I could ever do such a thing. I learned how to draw. I learned how to doodle. I learned how to kind of embrace the more creative side. You know, mostly because I wanted to do something that had absolutely nothing to do with technology. Remember, I'm burnt out at this point, right? The last thing I want is to sit in front of my computer more. I wanted something tactile. I just wanted to shut off my computer and not even open. That was how badly burnt out I was.
Wow.
So I developed, you know, I started doing all these doodles. I made design elements. I made like quotes and stuff, you know, that I could put on my wall. I did just stuff. I started drawing and stuff. And, you know, as an entrepreneur, your brain is always thinking, you know, like, well, this is all fun, but how can I like multi-purpose this? You know, it's always fun to do something that you enjoy and, you know, make some money out of it. And for a long time, I just kind of shoved that aside because I still thought at that time, my mindset was like, I'm going to come out of this burnout. I'm gonna hit this plugins, my development in coding again afresh. And the longer that drug on, the more I realized that maybe it's just time for me to kind of pivot. Not exactly like completely releasing. I still have some projects that I'm plugged into that will pay me, but I don't do as much coding now than I used to. But it's still, I'm still keeping my skills alive there, so to speak. And so I kind of did a little pivot and started selling my journals and planners. And the response was kind of amazing, and I was thrilled. So now here I am, and I love it. I absolutely love it because I like to journal. I like the questions and stuff in guided journals, especially because they make me think,
Yes.
They make you sit and think, well, I've never thought about that before. And you process things that maybe like you're having trouble with, or sometimes you just need something to help you wind down.
Yes. Yeah. Very nice. I love that story. There was so much in there. Just the reinvention of Lynette over time. That is amazing. Audience, I hope you caught all of that because she just totally reinvented herself. And not only that, when you said, I didn't think I could draw, if you asked me, and I keep thinking the same thing. I just don't have that. But I guess we all have a creative side. It's just how much we decide that we're going to tap into it and really learn it is when we will really be able to develop it.
Yes.
And the fact that, you have this highly technical nature about you, and you were burned out for a year. I just kind of went through a burnout as well, Lynette, and Kelly had to kind of nurture me back from it. And it lasted about 3 months. I can't imagine. And 3 months for me was like, what is
forever, right?
Yes. So I just cannot imagine a year. Wow. Wow. That's a great story.
That was a very challenging year, I have to say, because, on one hand, you have these goals that you think you should have, but your drive is no longer there, and that just absolutely kills it. That kills me in so many ways.
I totally relate. I totally relate to that. And the drive, when you lose the drive for that, you just kind of walk away from it. It's like you just can't magically do it again. You have to wait until you get your mojo back.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. I love that story. Now, so now you primarily you create journals and planners, and I love planners, but since I have been in this community with all of these wonderful people, I've learned the planners that I love is not necessarily in the same way that you guys actually make planner for your PLR material. Can you tell me the planners I'm used to, of course, are calendars. They're my planner calendars I get for the entire year for 3 months, and I use that to plan out my day, my business, my life. But your planners are a little bit different. Tell us the difference.
Well, first of all, it really depends. Sometimes we still do develop traditional planners where you have a calendar and a to-do list, the more traditional format. I don't do that as much, partially because I like things that guide me through stuff, The more traditional planners are very useful for general public, but I found that, in many years that I worked with Kelly and been in this community, I found that a lot of times we have sticking points, we have stumbling blocks that are not necessarily related to how we plan our day. It could be how to approach a project, for example. Mm-hmm. So like Kimberly, you are doing this podcast, but let's say if somebody's new, right? They have no idea how to start a podcast. So my thinking, okay, if I were to make a planner for podcasters, what kind of planner would I make? I would make one that would guide them through, okay, these are a list of things that you need to do. Okay, so and then I'll leave some space for you to write in your own things from that you learn from whoever. And then these are things that you do every day. These are things that you do every week. These are things you do every month. And then sometimes I might throw in a calendar, obviously, because calendars are very helpful for everybody, right? You kind of need that. And of course I might I'll probably make a page with notes and plenty of, or maybe a blank page entirely that you can use to just brainstorm and scribble on it. So that's the way how I approach my planners, and how a number of people also approach their planners in this space. So I personally, I don't know what other people call them, but I call them guided planners and guided journals, because they guide you through a process for you for you to achieve a particular goal.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I love that. Because regular calendar planners would just be planners, calendar planners, but these are guided planners. Yeah, I like that terminology so much better. And you're right, I've used some of those guided planners and they are amazing. So amazing. Actually, I've got a project coming up where I want a guided planner for that project. Mm-hmm. So that will work out well for that project. So thank you for that clarity and that definition. Now, so if you will help walk me a little bit through, just in case there are people in my audience who would be interested to find out, how do you get started working in a way where you're developing guided planners and journals? How did you get started? If you can walk us through a little process of that for my audience, that'd be great.
So absolutely, Kimberly. I before we got on a call, I kind of had I told you I had a little story behind this.
Yes.
So I'm actually not new at creating planners. I started a blog planner. 2008.
Wow.
Yeah. 2007, 2008. I started a blog planner. This was like, nobody had any blog planners. Now you go on Pinterest, or wherever, you see blog planners everywhere, Nobody had one of these back then. And the only reason I started it was because it's twofold. One, I wanted to build a list. And I thought, at that time, everybody was giving away ebooks, and I don't want an ebook. I wanted a tool. I want some people can break open and use it, not just sit and probably put it on shelf, or they have to learn. I didn't want any learning. Partly also because the way I learn is by doing. If I go through the process and do it, that's how I learn. I don't know, not everybody learns that way. So building a list was my primary goal, because remember, I was still in WordPress plugin space. So I wanted to reach bloggers. So I wanted to build a list of bloggers so that I could market my plugins to. And it started with a really simple calendar, really. It was just a simple calendar with dates and suggestions of what you can blog on this particular date, and so on and forth. And over time, it evolved into a full-fledged planner, which I still have now today. It's at Blog Energizer, and you can grab it. It's it's a weekly planner, and you have space that's spaced out, like what you should write about today, or what you want to write about today. There are suggestions for topic ideas, and then who you should be reaching out to. You can write it down, what kind of promotions that you're going to put on your blog and stuff like that. So I started that way. Now, even at that time, a lot of people asked me how I did it. I did it the shortcut way, which is really the only way to do it, really, if you ask me. What I did at that time is I went to one of those marketplaces and I bought a template. I bought a template for Adobe InDesign, which I had no clue how to use.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to use this thing. So I reached out to a friend, and she said, hey, yeah, that's my specialty. I would modify this template for you. And, that's how I started doing it. So that's one of the best ways, really, if you want to start getting, doing your own planner, is to get a template that, you're not going to get something that is exactly what you want. You can get close, and sometimes you can get very close.
Right.
But the point is not about getting something that's custom. You won't get something custom unless you pay for custom planner. But the point is to jumpstart that process, and with just a few modifications, you can send it out. So that template I was telling you earlier, the first year I put that template out, wow, I got so many downloads. I mean, over the years now, we have maybe our planner has been downloaded maybe 40,000 times already.
Wow.
So it's like a lot, So just because, it's not super custom to you, and you just modify things, people will like it, because people just love things that will help them get to where they need to go. And of course, having your experience helps you, and that's where you inject and make the planner your own. For me, what I was looking for at that time I was looking for more of a layout that I wanted. The content itself really did not matter that much to me at that point, but I wanted a layout that kind of matched, and then I would modify the information to fit my experience, what I think other bloggers should be putting on their blog. And so I modify it that way. So, and now there are a lot of people selling templates like these that you can use. You can grab it and make it like I did as a list builder, which is absolutely great. I always start with a list no matter what kind of project I do. And you can even sell it. A lot of them their customers sell the planners that they make on Kindle. Now that I have to admit, that's something that I don't do, but I know many of them are very successful doing that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Lynette has on her website, thriveanywhere.com, she definitely has products on there that you could definitely take a look at. Journals and planners, and I love it. I go on that website and I comb through things, and I kind of get, I had a podcast that talked about PLR, and I feel like I get lost in all of that because I want it all. It's like you're like a kid in a candy store. So it is so nice. And the thing about journals that are, and you make your journals that way, colorful and expressive. And the thing about that is it draws you in. I have never been a big journaling fan. But when I buy journals like that, it makes me want to journal.
Yeah.
That's what's funny about it. It makes me want to journal. And I love guided journals. Because I'm not a big journaling fan,
yes.
Guided journals help me a lot. It helps me to really dig a little deeper and pull out things that I really need to focus on.
Right. And, you know, a lot of people buy journals and stuff, not because, you know, for a long time, I wasn't, you know, I don't have a daily journal. I didn't have a daily journaling habit for a long time. And I bought them still, partly because even though I did not write in them, but when I flipped through them, the questions like, well, you know, it's just, I may not write out my answers, but it just like, give me some food for thought, you know, whether I want to be more thankful or more generous or more spiritual or more focused. You know, it gives me some things or to think about, like, how am I going to adjust my life? How am I going to adjust my day and stuff?
Yes, I agree. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So you can find Lynette at thriveanywhere.com. I will put her website on the page, on the podcast page. I'll put her website and all her information there. And on that website, Lynette, you have a free gift for us. It's the I Love You Because Journal, and it's on the homepage of your website, correct?
Yes.
Wow. Nice. I really, really, really love that. You have an amazing, amazing story. Now, one of the things I wanted to focus on for a minute is, just so that the women that are listening can hear, is just to talk a little bit about your journey as a woman business owner. You know, you talked about, you know, coming here and having to kind of figure out what you wanted to do. Tell us a little bit, give us some insight into that journey, because, you know, my purpose is to make sure that every woman knows it's doable.
Yes, absolutely. So my journey is probably a little different from many moms or other women here. Well, like I said, I was born and bred in Malaysia. I was living there. I had a really good career. I think if I didn't marry my husband, I'd still be working. And when I got here, when I mentioned earlier I had to start everything all over again, that is the literal truth. Because my education did not matter anymore. Nothing transferred over. Whatever I put in my resume, or even my experience, you know, nobody like believed me, you know, because all the references I had were international. They were not in the United States, you know. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a lot of companies are just kind of suspicious about that. You know, they just take whatever I have on my resume as like, yeah.
Wow.
Not very helpful or useful. So I found out, I quickly found I really had to find my own way. And the town where I live is a military town. My husband was military. We have a base here, right, back of my house. So the primary industry is military, and beyond that, there's we're still kind of small town, and there's very little outside of the base that I could do that pays well. Not at the pay level I was used to. You know, I was on track to become a Southeast Asia regional marketing manager at the time, you know, before I moved. So there's no jobs like that in this town. If I want a job that paid well and had any kind of benefits, I would have to go into work on base. And because I was a new immigrant, I wasn't allowed to do that until I was naturalized as a citizen. So that's like a 5-year period. So I'm thinking, well, I can't be sitting around here twiddling my thumbs for 5 years. It's just not me, you know. And that's when I I thought I really need to find something for myself. And the first thing I do, and I think like the first thing, if you ask a lot of people, they will say, you know, go to what you know best or what you think you know best. And that's how I started. I wanted to provide marketing services, and that was what I knew. So I went with that. And I know a lot of times too, you know, in the business circles, people always talk about finding your purpose, doing something you love. Now, I agree with that.
Right.
But if you're new and you have no clue what to do, start where you are. Start with what you know, because you know, like you heard my story, because even after 10, 12 years, you will still be finding new things about yourself. You will reinvent yourself. You will find that, oh, no, that's not what I want to do, you know, but you won't know that until you take those first steps, until you start, you know. It's kind of like, let's see, it's kind of like driving, you know, like let's say, you know, I used to drive down from, I live in North Carolina. We used to go from North Carolina to Atlanta quite a bit. And this is a long journey, you know, it's like, what, 500 miles? Now, I know I want to get from here to there, you know, but I didn't know whether the road I planned to take, that there will be any roadblocks, will there be traffic, will there be a storm on the way, you know, will there be a wreck that would, you know, that my plans would go awry? I didn't know. I just know I need to go from here to there, right? So until I start that journey, you know, I wouldn't know whether I needed to take a detour, or maybe halfway down the road, I'm like, well, maybe my trip to Atlanta is not necessary anymore. So that's happened to me before, you know, and maybe you have to turn back, or maybe you have to go a different route.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's always important to, you know, not overthink it. If you want to start something, go ahead and start with what you know. Along the way, you either pick up knowledge that confirms, yes, this is what you should be doing, or say, no, that's not what you be doing. Or it could be a pivot, you know, like, well, it is kind of what I want to do, but I think this lane suits me more. It's not a complete U-turn, but, you know, it's just a slight diversion. So yeah, I think that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, those are all, oh my gosh, ladies, I hope you heard, because that's all excellent points. I mean, she explained that so well. Sometimes you just have to start where you are. And a lot of times I will meet a lot of women who say, well, I'm still trying to decide what I want to do, or I'm not quite clear on it yet, so I'm still, you know, working on it, or I know what I want to do and I'm perfecting it. You know, a lot of women will talk about that, and really those are all just tactics, you know, for fear and procrastination and excuses. They're really just, you know, holding off because they're a little fearful. Yeah. They're not ready to really just jump in and do it, because I agree wholeheartedly. You will just have to start where you are and just jump in and try it. And as you move forward, you will be able to know whether you stay on the same path or you need to pivot a little bit and make some changes or what have you, but you're moving. Movement is the key. You know, I think you're definitely just doing something towards where you're headed. So yeah, I think that's perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Perfect. Now, Lynette, you said you used to be a telephone salesperson.
I was.
How was that experience?
Oh my goodness. You know, it's funny. I didn't even remember that job until recently, and that's when I put it out. But it wasn't because it was so bad or anything. So this was, let me see, I think it was right after college. I wasn't quite sure. I was still looking for like a full-time job. So this was a part-time gig. And I had no idea what I was, what I was getting interviewed for. I showed up and they say, okay, you have this job. I'm like, okay, what do I do? So you call up these people. So I was a telemarketer, yes.
Yep. I think we all have been a telemarketer at one point, Lynette.
I sold magazines, and
okay.
And actually, it's kind of funny because sometimes there's those times that you go into stuff and you didn't think you learn a lot, and then now I'm looking back and I'm thinking like, wow, it really wasn't that bad. Sure, there's always this resistance, when I want to get to work. I'm like, oh, I want to get to work, and I really don't want to call these people. But and like I said on my Facebook post, this list, I'll get this huge stack, and it's like never ending. This list never seems to go down. But the thing is, once I got started, I started dialing, no, next, no, it's just like, it's, you kind of start getting used to it, and you kind of settle into it. And after a while, when you hit that, yes, it's like, whew, a real high. So I think it kind of also ties back to where, it's just about, it's about just getting started and getting that momentum. And like you said, the movement. And once you get a movement, and a lot of people are going to say no to you. A lot of people are going to say no. Yeah. It really does not matter. My mentor, Armin Moore, always say, you don't matter. Just go for the yes. Out of 100 people, you probably get one yes, but you don't get to the yes until you go through the last 99.
No, that's. Lynette, you are so right. I think that everybody, before they start a business, should either be a telemarketer or a network marketer, where you get just lots of no's. No, thank you, no. Because I think a lot of times people are afraid to ask for the sale or make the sale because they're afraid of the rejection. That's where the no's come in. And so I think once you get past that, once you've had the 99 no's, then you're, like you said, you're used to it. So it's like, why not go for the yes? Just keep going. You've got the 99. What happens if you get 99 more and then get a whole bunch of yeses? So that's a great experience to have. Thank you so much, Lynette, for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. You've given my audience tons and tons of value. You're able to find Lynette on her webpage, thriveanywhere.com, as well as on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. And I will put all those links on her podcast page. And so, Lynette, as we're about to wrap up our interview here, if you could share one action tip with my audience that they could put into place today to get them moving on their dreams, on their businesses, on their desires, what would that be?
I would say do not despise the small stuff. I'm a big fan of doing small things and doing small things consistently. So a lot of times you're going to be doing things that you think might not matter, that you think doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but just like how a river starts with little drops of water off a tree, trickling down into little tiny itty bitty streams, and eventually, growing into huge rivers like an Amazon. So do them consistently. Don't think just every little thing you do adds up. Every little thing you do matters.
Absolutely. I love that. And that is so true. You may not think it matters, but every little thing matters. But Lynette, quickly, before you go, because I subscribe to White Label Perks. And you actually are in a joint venture with Kelly and Avery. Is it White Label Perks?
White Label Perks, no, there are White label post is Kelly, Avery, and Samantha Angel.
Oh, I am so sorry.
No
Lynette.
problem. We do so many things together. This is kind of merged together. Yeah.
Now, do you have your own subscription club, though?
I do not have a subscription club at this time.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure because I wanted to make sure I got that in if you did. Well, thank you so much, Lynette, for straightening me out on that. I appreciate it. And we will see you at thriveanywhere.com on your website for your planners and journals. And we will see you next time on the next episode of Inspired Women, Amazing Lives. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you so much, Kimberly.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of Inspired Women, Amazing Lives podcast, where we help women to be truly inspired to live their most amazing lives. Please subscribe to the podcast to be notified of new content each and every week. Feel free to like, comment, and share with the women who inspires you the most. I hope to see you on the next episode. Goodbye.